Welcome back to the GLAC Studios oil painting tutorial. I'm Gomati Sivasankaran. We are in the class 6 of Ardhanareeshwarar painting. Ardhanareeshwarar meaning half man, half woman, or the completeness of the yin yang or Shiva Shakti balance in the universe. So it's a representation of so many things that we are painting. So it's an amazing painting that we are working on. Um, Welcome back to this classics again. Let's just quickly go over what we have done as a recap and then see what we have to do today. So we had started out with some basics on the canvas and preparing the canvas and strategizing, selecting references, deciding on what to do, what not, how, and strategizing, and then bringing it down to the canvas is the step that we are right now in. We started out with the grid lines, and we have named our grids, numbered our grids, and such. So we managed in the last class to do a superstructure, not a detail, a superstructure, and we based on one of the references, that is the key reference, which you also see in the attachment, where I have made grid lines, physically made grid lines and written something on the top. It's not something, it relates to the size of the painting and so on. So based on this, we managed to do a superstructure. That's where we made a stop last class. Now the next step for us is going to be to first review a little bit on the superstructure, because we are going to move across references today. So it's going to be a bit of a juggling. Be ready with all three pictures. Um, and in case you would like it to be printed off, if you haven't printed off, have it printed off. Or if you are using your laptop or mobile phone or something, have these pictures ready enough for you to keep on juggling, because we are going to be juggling today a lot between these three. So today's exercise is going to be checking first on the superstructure based on what we have here, and then going back to this picture where we have the face to work on. So we are going to rework on the face, or work on the face, and readjust the sides of the face in alignment to what we have here. So that's what we are going to do after we do the checking, and then we will move on to the details of the trident and so on. We will also do the superstructure of the animals here. Yeah, the cow and the lion as well here. So that's going to be a lot to target for today. So step by step, if we move on, we can manage. So be attentive, and you're welcome to pause. If you're feeling a little bit, pressurized for time, needing some more time, pause wherever you need and do whatever you can the best. And yeah, let's get this done with. Let's have a nice and beautiful work done today. Yep. So I am going to first place this one, because I'm going to compare one more time just before we get started with the um, mm, with with the other aspects of it. So I'm going to do corrections first. So I'm having this here, and I am going to make the camera 2 as primary for you to see more of what I do here. Then quickly over the materials. No big change on the materials. It's almost the same that I've been having. The zero brush and yeah, the zero brush, a tissue paper, um, an earbud, and the same good old burnt umber from Winsor and Newton that's still sticking around. Some of it is still there. I'm not going to take more of it, maybe a little bit, but I'm going to take a bit of vermilion. I think I used in the last class to show you corrections, isn't it? So now I'm going to do some corrections. So I'm going to take a bit of vermilion and have it also just so that I'm able to show you some different things or what exactly is the change I am making versus what we have. Yeah. So I'm going to have that only for the benefit of showing you things. So in case you are working on one color, that is perfectly fine. You don't need to bother about taking another oil paint color. This is just for the sake of showing you things slightly differently, so it's clearly visible the corrections or changes that we are making. Yeah, the oil is the same good old linseed oil, cold pressed linseed oil. I haven't refilled. I don't see the need of it. I might need a bit of a magnifying glass. I have it handy around all the time. Um, yes, I don't see anything else. I have a glass of water right behind me to go back to. You also need to remember to stay hydrated when you are seated for many, many hours. This is a good old challenge that we face, that we are not hydrated enough. Yeah, stay hydrated. I will take my break whenever I need to go for my glass of water. You do the same. Don't mix the glass of water with the things that you want to clean up brushes with. That is not safe. Yep. With all these instructions, I think we are now really ready to get started. So I'm going to have a thorough look on how the superstructure is so far and where I think there is a need for correction. Um, Yesterday after the class, I was looking at it and I did notice few things in terms of corrections. The shoulder line somehow wasn't so clear. Maybe it's because we don't see much of it. There's hairlock, there is the snake and so on, but still I would prefer the shoulder line to be slightly, minor bit of it um up there. So if you see between what I had done before and what I'm doing, it's just a minor difference, but I think it is needed here at least. And this hand, I think I was going on correcting it yesterday as well. I wasn't so convinced yesterday as well, and now I am making a nice curve up here. This is fine. And yeah, the fingers will come up slightly a bit more than I thought I want. Yeah, so this hand is slightly bigger enough. Um, a minor change, but I think it's needed for me here. As regards this hand, I do not see much of a difference between what I want and what I already have here. So it's just that the lines weren't so clear. I'm just doing it again. Um, and with respect to Shakti's hands, I did have a bit of concern the moment I finished as last class. I'm gonna revisit that. Yeah. All right. What I think I'm missing here in this hand is that I'll have to just bring it up a little bit so you're able to see better. um, The hand as such is good enough, but the size of it needs to be slightly fitted. Um, can be, slightly fitted here. And I want the size of it to go slightly bigger, one notch bigger. Not too much, but I think it deserves, if you compare and contrast, this feels slightly smaller somehow. And I'm just going to make it one notch bigger here, so it's in alignment. Yeah. And these fingers has, even though we have not done the fingers in detail, I would prefer that we have the spacing, the size of it done clearly. Yeah. I think this size fits. Somehow, this was a correction that I had in mind um, to do. Yeah. And one other, not a correction, but I could have done is that there are so many layers to this, but there is a the border line of the clothing that I wanted to do. And just to show the way it's flowing through here. Yeah, I think I had that in mind. And also the hair strand, it has to come down even further. So I'm in T through E, bringing the hair locks down here for Shakti, and doing the same thing for Shiva as well. I think the matted hair comes down further. Yeah, so I have put in that. Um, Now I think I have whatever I need for the superstructure. Now I'm ready to move on to the other um, reference. Let's pick up the reference here and see what all we can learn from this. So the main element is the face that we are going to work on. We're going to do just now. And then the I did have a feeling yesterday when we did the trident and the damaru, the drum, that the drum is misplaced somehow in our picture. It's really not in alignment. Over here, I can see it better. I think I want to do this one, yeah, um, just above the hand or hand of Shiva, the way he's held it. This one is better. And also there's a cloth that is draped over, that is tied to the trident and knotted through the damaru or the drum. That's exactly how that's placed together. So that logic is so clear here. I was missing that in the previous one. Maybe it was there that it's not so clear. This is clear. So I think I will go for that. There is a mala on top of it. I'm not sure whether I want that, but I want that uh, cloth connection as well. So I'm going to put that in from this. Yeah, I'm still a bit, confused whether I want this hand to be open like this or closed like this one here and the other one as well. But I guess I will go with what we have already. Yep. I like the aspect of the Om in his hand here, though. Mm. Okay, so it is quite a bit of work from this one. So I'm going to switch from this picture over to the reference where you see Shiva Shakti seated. We're going to use that as reference and start working on some of the. So we did the corrections from last class's work, and we are now ready to move on to today's activity. Yeah. So normally I like to put some lines through, and I see that there is this line for the eye, and there is the line for the nose, and then I place a line for the lips. I have done it ever so lightly so I could rub off. Yeah, that's something that is needed. I hope you're able to see that clearly now. So I'm bringing this even closer for you. So I have it done. And now I want to see, okay, maybe I want to rub off a bit of, so it's ever so light, just for me to help and not too much. So I'm going to start with their beautiful eyes, the iris. Yeah. So I am seeing that nice circle, and this is something I also teach for children who are learning for the first time. Okay, so you have made just two dots, and then you are using those dots as um, center lines to do the upper curve of the eye, and then maybe a very thin curve of the under eye. Yeah. So I'm going to use a bit of this, going back to the burnt umber just to see how the relationship pans out, because this red is too heavy for me, and it's not helping me see the eye the way I want it. Yes. So we have the eye now, and the eyebrows are going slightly above. Yes, we have that. The nose, I basically do the pores in the nose and nothing much. And now the lip, it's a flattened M. I always say that it's a flattened M. Just remember the letter M, and remember, just think of it that there's a there's a car that ran over the M, and the M got flattened. So that's an easy way to remember to make that flattened M. Make them smiling. They are smiling. I like it. And then the underlip. So we have the face in a structure that is slightly larger now, because we used from the previous um, reference. So can we now readjust? If I have to readjust, I'm looking at first the ear. Yeah. So the ear has to be readjusted slightly, ever so slightly, goes inward. And I think the stopping point and starting point are almost the same, lucky for us. So no big change, but a slight change. It's going slightly inwards. And then the hairline, we adjust a little bit more, bringing down the face to so if you see, I have just brought down the size one notch. Yeah, one notch down in all directions. Yep. Then the neck also slightly comes one notch down. Yeah. Let's see how it is. Okay. And the smile. I'm just going to keep the smile there. Yeah. Shiva always shows up as an angry young man in many, many pictures. And that's quite normal to see him like that. He is also called Rudra, the Rudra Thandavam, or the, the kind of anger he emits. But with Shakti, there's this balance, and he's smiling even more. Mhm. So pretty to see him smiling. Yeah, good. So we have the face done. So it is neutral in a way. It should, at this stage, though we are working at the basic level, maybe it's not the perfect one yet because we haven't done the real work yet. But at this stage, what we are checking for is that it's a face that should look neutral because it's man and woman, half man, half woman. This is a slight challenge. So for us, maybe forget all these pictures, take them out, and maybe if they are causing you a little bit of confusion, just look at what you have done and see, can you convert this easily to a man or to a woman? It should be right in between. And that's exactly what we are looking for, at least at this stage. And once we are done with that, I think we are pretty much there with respect to the face. Yeah. So just repeating very slowly for those who are finding it challenging. I did, there is the center line, luckily for us, the grid line between C and D. So onto the left and onto the right, we made two nice circles for the iris and the pupil, and then we used them as guiding to do the upper wing of the upper eye, and then also the bottom eye, then the eyebrows, and then we just place some dots, two dots for the two nostrils, and then the flattened M for the mouth. And then we check the ear to be, downsized a bit because it's a little too much as compared to what we did previously for the face that we have now. So we have Shiva Shakti's face done. Can we go to the damaru? Because that was an error last time, isn't it? So the way I positioned it, at least, is wrong. So I'm going to now imagine that there is this. I see the trident having something here. The trident is thick here. The trident is slightly thick here. The trident has a cloth, and that is connecting itself to the real damaru here, and it has to be going this way bigger and the other way. I'm keeping the old one so I can show you still what I am doing. I'm going to move the camera a little bit closer to that area where I am working so you can still see the erroneous one while I do the right one using red. And then I will try to take off. So this is the correct positioning. So if I have adjusted the positioning, I want to remove from yesterday's. Let's see if it goes. It might not so clearly. If it doesn't, I will take a little bit of oil to take it out. It usually is easier within 24 hours, but then if it stays for longer, then it is a challenge. But at least you can lighten it up so you can see that, that's not the one, this is the right one. So darken this up maybe with gold color, so it's a little bit easier for you to see. And I'm going to add a bit of that clothing in between that is flowing through. Yeah, there is a cloth that is flowing through. Maybe I can use this space to, yeah. So there is a cloth, and that cloth is also clinging onto this. It looks like, it's tied, and that's how it's tied on the top again. Yeah, somehow like that. Yes. Um, I think I have picked up what I wanted from this one. Mostly the last part is the Om. I think that can be done again just for the sake of doing it now. I'm going to put the Om symbol. This symbol is actually connected to a lot to Hindu religion, but essentially it is the Om sound is past or beyond any religion. It's the, what do you call, the first three ever sounds that um, came out of the earth. So it's a primary sound from the universe. So Om is the representation of that. So we bind that here. So I think I have picked up what I wanted to do from this one. While painting, of course, I might come back to this uh, again and again. But for now, I am going to move with another picture. This one, yes, for the animals. Yes. So we are now ready to move on to the animals. There are two animals to work with. Which one do you like the best? Which one do you want the first? I haven't thought about it at all. I'm going to move right here. So the focus goes here on the. Hmm. And just before we get started, I want to quickly go over this point that we discussed while we were discussing the references. Remember, I said I love this picture. Only thing is that the whole leg and everything seems to be foreshortened a little too much. And That's the reason why we picked up the base or the superstructure from another picture. But if we still manage to do the faces of the animals in this order, because we have done the height that was missing here in this picture, um, it will help us to build the height of these animals as well. That's my wild guess. And one other thing that I wanted to do is to have these faces as close as possible and the angles as close as possible. Yeah. I have to share an honest truth here. I am not an expert with animals, but I was made to become one by my students because they all loved animals. When I started teaching, everyone wanted to learn how to do animals. So I had to learn so I could teach better. So I have learned through them. So all credit goes to them. If I get it right, let's see. Hmm. So now we have no grid lines. We have not made any grid lines. So this is the next level, isn't it? So we started with learning everything with grid lines, and we have done that. And now we learn how to survive without grid lines and just eyeballing things as well. So we just know now that the animals have to come very close to the superstructure of Shiva Shakti. Otherwise, we do not have any grid lines here. We are going to go about doing that and the adjustments here. So I'm going to put this picture close to where I want the face of the cow here. Hmm, so I could see better. So I'm just going to do some eyeballing and mark some spaces ever so lightly. Let's see. So I would want the face of the animal between, uh, it has to be very close. The eye has to be very close uh, here. That's what I want. Yeah. Somewhere here in, I'm going to use this center. Uh, I like it when I can use a grid line itself as an element. So I want the eye here, eye of the animal here. And then if one eye comes here, the other eye is somewhere around this space. I have just marked the eye. So the nose and the mouth comes somewhere over here. And then you see the head going, yeah, in this direction. So the overall structure of the face is going to be somewhere over here. So it is essentially in B5. Majority of it is in B5, going across A5 also. And then the neck comes through A5. Okay, so I'm making that space. I hope it doesn't end up looking like a horse or a dog. Yeah, it's always a challenge for me to build it. Um, but on top of this, I'm going to build that horn. The tip of the horn also has a jewelry to it. Yeah, but we will work on the details later. I'm just marking it right now. And I see the other horn right here. So essentially, we haven't followed any grid lines, but we are trying to see where things are, eyeballing and reaching for one after the other. So far, it it isn't looking like a cow yet. At least in my case, if you are achieving it, it's good. Uh, I have. I'm just covering the spaces for the jewelry that it has. There's a nice little thing here. I've done that. And now for the ear. So the ear is coming right behind. It's a big ear, yeah. And that ear is behind the trident. One of those is behind the trident. The other one is going down like this. And it is very close to the number 5 that I put. We will get rid of that, so don't worry. So we are fine with that. Now, if we have to bring the neckline down, so I'm looking at that space and making a slight curvy neckline coming down, further down. and closing in on the grid line of 6 and 7. Yeah, I'm doing that. There you go. And right underneath, I want to show a slight little, turn of the neckline. There is this jewelry again on his neck. He's proudly wearing, putting that through. One more. I think this one is the larger one, and it has the bell. I love that. Oh, I love the music of. I don't know if you have lived in a place where you see cows and buffaloes around. I have been in some places where I see them, and I love the sound of the bell when they walk. Ah, there's something amazing about that music that when they walk. There you go. The bell. Happy. Yes. Okay, now the angle of the. There's always a question. It is an ox, I think. I'm just referencing my own uh, old painting. I'm just turning around to look at one of my own painting, but it is supposed to have that bump in its back that I want to show and bring it in this angle. So if you see, I want to maintain this cross angle instead of the straight angle that I saw here. So that helps me show some closeness, intimacy between the animal and the human figures, or the demigod figures. Mm, yeah, I think I'm fairly done with that. Now I'm going to work on the leg. Let's work on the leg right underneath the. I'm going to move the camera slightly down. So you get to see the way the leg is getting built. So I see that the thicker portion of the leg and so I want to make it go a little bigger than what it is in this picture, because the length is the issue. So I'm just lengthening it up here to balance it, bring it down to 8. So I have brought it down to 8. Bring this away. Brought it down to 8, maybe closing here so you can see better. So this length is as in comparison to what we see in this reference picture. The length is a little more than what we see, and that's exactly what we wanted to adjust here. So I've brought it down. I'm just looking at where the line is for the leg of Shiva, and it's somewhere close to there. And I see this is the heel. Yeah. So if you look at the height of it, this looks much more in balance for the animal. And now we are ready to do the other leg as well. So between these between these two lines. There is a strong line coming because of the trident that we built. So between that line and this space that we built, there is this other leg that's going to come. I'm going to build that here. Yeah. I'm just sticking onto the grid line B and C, between B and C, because that's really helping me build this leg and its heel. Yeah, like this. Good. So I have made the space for the other leg as well. You don't see much of the animal's back because it's right behind. It's right behind Shiva. But now I can see that I can bring down, because usually the skin is slightly, what do you call, hanging in between these legs. So I want to show that. So I'm going to bring it further down in between these legs. It's usually a kind of skin that is smooth and fleshy, and it is wobbling over. And I want to build that. Yeah. Yeah. I think I have it. So let's look at the time. How are we doing? We are nearly there with this blocking. I think I am okay with this blocking. Let's stick around a little bit and finish the blocking of the line as well. For the line, it's a little bit easier because there is hair, and hair we want to work again on my own and our own self. But let's see where we want to have the animal as such. So I'm going to move the camera around one more time. This location is. Mhm. So if we see, the height of this animal isn't the same, but it is somewhere close to her hand that you see. And I want to place his eye right here. Yeah, I think I want to place the eye right here. So I'm placing the eye. So when I do the eye of the line, I'm just making a triangle like this. I'm not going to go into the details. I'm going to make another one here. Yeah, that's what I did. The nose comes down as two dots for now, and I connect it through like a triangle right beneath. Do that spacing underneath the nose to build the mouth, jaw. Just going to maybe I'll take the vermilion in between so it's looking like the tongue. Huh? Yeah, not needed, but I just did it because I have the color with me. So I have this nice jawline, and I'm going to build this around. Yeah. Right. here, and I will make this superstructure of the lion. And remember, this side of it, you cannot see much of it because there's a lot of hair coming out. Yeah. Doesn't look like an animal yet, or the lion, definitely no, but we will get there. So I'm going to make the hair strands, and in this, I'm just making the larger portion of the lion's hair. I don't want to take some more of the brown, so I'm just getting lazy, but um, so this is the spacing that I'm doing for the lion's hair, and I want to cover this right behind her hand. And there is one element that I we couldn't see in the other picture. I'm going to do this in red so that you could see this garment that she is wearing is having that what do you call, a pallu, or um, the the saris strand coming like this, and I like that. I wanted that when I was looking at it, and I wanted it to show from behind also, between her hip and the hands. So I'm going to put that spacing here, because that's covering a little bit of the body of the animal as well, isn't it? That's why we don't see much of the body of the animal here. So I'm just going to build that here. So I did that. And now it is easier for us to work on the rest of the spacing of this animal. So the line is still here, and let's look at the spacing. Is it too stuffy or not? It is very close to getting stuffy, but somehow it is so far escaped. And now I'll do the legs. Yeah. So if you see what I have done as an adjustment here, it's just the clothing of her sari that I wanted to come out here, and that kind of hides a little bit more of the body of the animal, and it also places the animal slightly more closer in angle. Um, and now let's do the legs. I'm wondering why they choose to do an angle like this, cross. I want to do the angle very similar to the angle of the legs of the cow. Um, Let me see if I could achieve that. So I'm going to move the camera around slightly here. So this is something I'm doing on my own, but it's up to you. If you like this cross angle, it is fine. I'm just placing the legs close to each other, doing the angle like this and spacing of the paws and the sharp nails. It makes the animal more in peace. This one looks a little more agitated for me. Maybe it's me thinking too much. I felt this angle makes the animal represented as he or she is in complete peace and in alignment. It's not going to make any move. It's just so happy there. Yeah, have that. How about that? Okay. So I have placed the superstructure. Oh, it's a lot that we did today, but we are going to go over what we did. Um, so I am moving the camera up and down for us to see how this looks overall. Yeah. Oh, and maybe I can bring this down a little more before we are ready for a summary. But it's been an intense class. This is definitely a highly intense class that we did today. I'm so proud of you. Let's just summarize what we did today. I'm going to move this slightly away so we get a perspective, beautiful perspective of what we have. Yes. So the summary, yeah, we started out today morning with only the superstructure of Shiva Shakti without the face being done. So we started first to look at the reference one, that is our base reference, and make some adjustments. At least in my case, I saw the need to correct the hands a little bit, and also yeah, the space for the hair lock and so on. Once that was done, we moved on to the reference where we have Shiva Shakti seated, because that one has the face. We did use that face to realign a little bit on the face. And once we did that, we were ready to do slightly more corrections on the trident area. Not exactly on the trident, but the damaru, that was definitely not placed right in the previous session, so we realigned that. Once we were done, we moved on to the third reference, where we have the animals also standing and rightly placed. So we used that and we worked on the cow. We placed the cow. Yeah. Once we placed the cow, we were ready to work on the lion. So we did that as well. And when it came to adjusting versus the reference that we had, the adjustment that we had to do essentially was to build up the height, which automatically took care of itself because we worked on the height in the manner that we did when we created the reference one as the guideline to do superstructure of Shiva Shakti. That helped us build this height for the animals here, and we have essentially built the height for both the animals, and they are looking that like they are more closer to Shiva Shakti now. And we also did take the reference to do Shakti's sari pallu, which was missing in the previous reference. So we did that, and then we have one more change that we did was this. At least I chose to do here was this leg that is so much active here, crossed leg, and I wanted the leg to be in a position where it looks like he's so happy and stable here. So that's the only change that we did. So with this, we are done with the overall planning. Congratulations on reaching this far. This has been an intense, set of episodes, but I'm sure that it's been a lot of learning, and you found it useful. In case you want to make more corrections, do more corrections as much as you can, and be satisfied with the elements that you're doing before you get on to the class 7. That's what I would advise you to do, because the class 7 is going to be blocking. The next step is blocking, where we start blocking these areas and say, yes, final, 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 final. I agree that these places are going to have these many elements, whatever they are. And we are going to start filling colors, blocking, filling. You can call it anything that you want, but this is going to be the what do you call layer, essential layer 2 on the canvas. So before you do that, if you can be, in agreement with what you have here, it's a very good thing. So it's not that you can never change after that. Of course, we always change, but the lesser the changes we need, the better it is, because it will. Yeah, we are now ready to move on with the next steps. Then, so take your time, take a break if you want, a couple of days to revisit, to look at things the way I would do it in the physical recording that I am doing. I am moving to another canvas, working on another painting. So when I come back in a couple of days, I will have a complete, objective mindset, and maybe I see a little more errors to fix as well. So I also take a break from physically away from this canvas. So be aware of that. It is going to only help you speed up the process, because if you are really interested in, oh, I want to jump into it, I want to do it right away, yes, you can block, but in a frenzy we might not see the errors. So it's good to make a stop here and have a thorough look at it, take a couple of days, be very sure of what you want, where, why, and then you are ready to get started with the next class. Thank you very much for being there and listening into this, trying to attempt this. It's an amazing thing that you are doing. Whether you know the storyline of Shiva Shakti or not, whether you understand the roots of this or not, doesn't matter, because what you're doing is just an absolute representation of this universe. When we talk about a yin yang balance, a man woman Shiva Shakti balance, so it's an amazing thought process to work on. So kudos to you for that, and congratulations on reaching this far. See you again in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye.